Say Assalamu alaikum to the family out there. I just wanted to touch a topic real quick tonight. It seems to be a very sore spot, I should say, for the people. And that is faith, a matter of faith. Really, it's faith and religion, I would say, yes. Are the two synonymous, or are they different? So I would say this is a problem not only for the non-religious people or people that don't subscribe to any spirituality, I should say, right? They kind of frown upon faith, but also within spiritual or different schools of thought that involve spirituality also kind of frown upon faith, and rightly so in one sense, because religion has been used to further people's agenda, like secret agendas, hidden agendas, or even outright agendas, or open agendas, I should say. So throughout the years, we've experienced this, people pushing their own ideas of what they think reality is or scripture may mean, right? And mind you, this is not limited to religion too, I should say, because we also see this in the world of science, But science, they label it theory. You see what I'm saying? They label their ideas as theory, and they push this upon the people, and if a lie is repeated enough, it's just believed by the general public. If you say something enough, we just go with it and say, oh, it must be truth. If you see it on the news 100 times during the week or throughout the years, right? So the misuse or abuse of this has gone on for ages, I would say, at least within the last 6,000 years. You see people adding in their own ideas of what they think scripture means, or what they think scientific theories are, and it could be astronomy, or it could deal with zoology, evolution. All of these things are theories, and it's ideas that men and women have, and they add to either religion or they add to the scientific community. So people, because of this, people shy away from religion altogether, right? Or I guess the new woke term, quote unquote, is now I deal with spirituality but not religion, So that is to say that basically they don't subscribe to man-made religions, right? So what I want to touch on is the definition of religion, right, from the perspective of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he deals with it. In Islam, we have a saying that Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life, right? It's a common saying that we have to say Islam is not a religion, right? Sometimes we will identify Islam as a religion just to, how can I say, just to, I guess, place ourselves in the realm of other schools of thought, other religions that's out there. We'll speak of it like that because Islam deals with a creator, or a supreme being, like other faiths, or deities, or whatever have you. So sometimes we just refer to it as religion in that sense, right? But it's not a religion in terms of the definition the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gives to us, right? So one place we could find his definition is in the book he wrote called Supreme Wisdom, right? Supreme Wisdom. He wrote two booklets. They're like little booklets, almost like, a little more than a pamphlet, but a little booklet. Not actually a book. You can find it in Supreme Wisdom 1 and 2, right? And here's the definition. This is what he has to say on religion, what religion is, and why Islam is not a religion, right? On page 44, under the title or heading, it says Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam, right? What a difference there is between the three religions. The first teaches that there are three gods, not one. It also requires worship of Mary, mother of Jesus, and of the disciples of Jesus, right? So that's one it touched upon, was Christianity. So here we see that the messenger is speaking of concepts or ideas added into religion, right? That's not really biblical when it talks about the Trinity, right? That's what he's giving reference to right here when it says the first, right? Because it's three of them right here. It's Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam. So the first teaches that there are three gods, not one. It also requires worship of Mary, mother of Jesus, and of the disciples of Jesus. So yeah, that I learned that in Catholic school, actually, that you can't find the word Trinity in the Bible. You know, not even the concept, the Trinity. You know, you have priests that from reading scripture, they came up with that idea that God is three different persons, or suppose three different people at one time. You know, but it's not scriptural. Like, you can't find Jesus uttering those words of a Trinity, right? And, you know, mathematically, it just doesn't make sense, because you can't put three into one. You know, you can't put three into one. Like, that's a law of physics that no two objects can occupy the same space at the same time. So that's how we know that it's not designed by God, because God designed physics. You know, the physics are the laws of the universe, right? So he designed it. That's a law that he put in place, you know. So why would he break his own law? Like, that's the whole purpose of God, is that he is a respecter of law and truth, right? So based off of that, we know that this concept is actually a false concept added by men and women on earth, right? So that's one example he gave. Another one, he says the worship of Mary, the mother of Jesus, and of his disciples, because you find that in the Christian faith, where Mary is like prayed to, you know, as statues and things of this nature, but none of that is biblical. It's not scriptural. So it's basically an invented idea, right? So he goes further. He says the second, Buddhism, requires belief in reincarnation and contains many ignorant practices. Let me read that one more time, right? The second religion he's dealing with, right? So he says the second, Buddhism, requires belief in reincarnation and contains many ignorant practices. Islam, on the other hand, is entirely free of confusing doctrines and of ignorant practices. So right here, we get an idea of what religion is, right? Just from this last sentence. He says, Islam, on the other hand, is entirely free of confusing doctrines and of ignorant practices. So that's what a religion really is. It's ideas that men and women make up, and then the ignorant practices, like the way you practice the religion, or also it could be the rituals that you perform, like, is a religion. So it's man-made, basically. So for Christians, you know, for Christians, you don't have to be offended, or Buddhists also doesn't have to be offended, because not in this particular passage, but in other cases, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he wouldn't give 2 cents for the scholarship of Orthodox Muslims also. You see, so that practice has also been how can I say it, injected into Islam as well. Not Islam as a religion given by Allah himself, but those like scholars, so-called scholars, they add in their own ideas of what they think the Quran mean as well, and they fall under the title of Orthodox Muslim. I put that in quotations, man. So-called Orthodox Muslims, right? So this is not an attack on any one particular religion or two religions. This is overall the society that we live on planet Earth overall. So that's what a religion actually is, made up ideas and ignorant practices, right? So people confuse that with faith. They confuse that with faith, and they'll say that, we don't have faith, or we don't believe. We don't believe in anything. We deal with knowledge. We deal with fact, actual fact. We don't deal with faith and belief. They say that's not what a scientist does. That's kind of what people say nowadays. It's like a hip thing to say, I guess, right? But what I wanted to say is to get us to think on faith from another angle, or see it from another angle. Because it's not limited to religion, to a religious discussion. It is not. Like, actually, faith is the engine of the world itself, because faith, one definition is given of faith in scripture in the Bible. It says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? But the evidence unseen, right? It goes something like that. In the comments, people will correct me if I messed up the quote somewhat, but that's the gist of it. Is faith is a substance hoped for but unseen, right? Something to that effect. I'll be corrected. So the reason why I say that is, without faith, nothing new would come upon society or existence, right? So you must have faith to bring forth new ideas in terms of it could be an invention, right? An invention, whatever that may be. It could be the iPhone or the Galaxy 9. Like, you draw upon an idea in your mind, and then you say to yourself, I believe this could work. I believe this can work if I do this, that, and the third, right? And then you work towards manifesting it into reality, like from outside your head into the physical world. So you have to have faith in order for this to occur. This is the same with music or art, entertainment. Like, you think of a song that you like, and you figure, I like the idea of this song. I believe other people will too. Perhaps it'll be a hit. And, you have faith and belief in the song, and you write that song, you push it. Sometimes you fight for that song because maybe the song could be caught up in the politics of a label or what have you, or whatever's going on in society. And some artists say, no, I believe in this song, or you may find a producer or a record exec, whatever have you, but faith is involved. And faith is what pushes it past the obstacles to make it become a reality, right? So you need that in terms of, like I said, inventions, whether it's art. You need faith even to talk to the opposite sex, Just think on that. It wouldn't even be any babies in this world if we didn't have faith that whatever sister we approached, or whatever man the sister may approach, have faith that they can get that man one day, or you get that sister one day, however it go. But you need faith and belief in yourself that this could happen. So, like I said, faith is something that human beings can't live without, because we're always manifesting new realities from our mind that only exist in our mind at some time, And even if something already exists, maybe you will just improve upon it. You got to have faith in that too, So if we look at it in the entertainment world, you may do a cover song, You know what? I want to cover that song. Somebody already did it, but I want to do it this way. Maybe my version, I would like a rendition of that song, And sometimes the rendition is bigger than the actual original. Case in point, I guess you think of that Whitney Houston song and Dolly Parton. What is the name of that song? Is it I Love You? I forget, but it's on the soundtrack of The Bodyguard, the movie that Whitney Houston did, and it's that famous song she did. It was a hit. I don't know if if everyone knows that it's popular, that Dolly Parton actually penned that song. That's her song, Whitney just covered it. But Whitney did it in a way that it caught fire. I don't think the Dolly Parton version was as popular or as big of a hit, if it was a hit at all, But so anyway, so you still need faith to make these things happen, As a matter of fact, Kevin Costner kind of pushed for that song, for her to do that song, and he pushed for Whitney to be the star of that movie. And if I'm not mistaken, it was him that gave her the idea to go a cappella in the beginning of that song, to bring about that theatrical effect, of the song. When she hit that note. I ain't gonna try to hit that note now. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. Let me stay in my own lane. But he had faith in her, and he had faith in that song and the way he wanted her to do it, right? And he was adamant about it, and it proved that he was right. Like the idea he had in his mind, he was right on time and spot on, and it was a major hit. So we see that, like I said, in music. We see it in inventions. People make improvements on other inventions, and it still all revolves around faith. So to dismiss faith and treat faith as, it's like the F word. You say, we don't want to say the F word. It seems like it falls into that category when it comes to people, like I said, non-religious people or people that subscribe to a particular faith or religion. It just seems like it's we just anti-faith. But I think it comes from a misuse of the word, a misunderstanding of the two words, religion and also faith. It comes from a misunderstanding, I believe. So as I said, the world just wouldn't go round without faith. You wouldn't meet new partners, unless you just wanted to deal with like a lottery. You no longer wanted to approach a potential mate. You just wanted to do a lottery, put balls in our names into the ball, like the lottery, and just have it pop up like that. But even that still would still imply faith. It just wouldn't be specific. It would be in general, but still it would be a model that you put in your mind to work towards, finding a mate. So just because you have a creative way of doing it, if you may be uneasy of approaching a person direct. So you have these different models. Like now they have these internet sites where you can meet someone. You just put your profile up there. They see your picture. They see a little bit of what you're about, and you meet that way. But even that implies faith. You're not speaking to someone directly, but you saying, hey, if I market myself this way, maybe I'll find a wife, maybe I'll find a husband, right? So I can't emphasize or stress that enough, the importance of faith. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he really said something that really hit home for me. And what he said was, in one of his speeches, he talked on a baby. And he said we probably had more faith, the first day we came out of our mother's womb than we do now as an adult. We had more faith then. And he demonstrated that by saying that how when we first come out, a child first comes out, if the mother is breastfeeding him or her, right, the baby begins to pull. He begins to pull, or she begins to pull on the breast, looking, to solve the hunger, right, or comfort or what have you. The baby first day is here, just opened his eyes, just came out into a new environment from being inside the womb. It really knows basically nothing of the surrounding world. But you put that baby to the breast, the baby will start pulling for a reward, and it don't happen right away, right? I don't think so, but I don't think that the milk comes out right away. The baby has to pull a little bit and pump the milk out of the breast before it's satisfied. But the point is, it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling until it's rewarded, showing a measure of faith, right from the womb. So to me, that's a lesson we should take from the womb to the tomb. So that's I would say that's right. So and the baby pulls and pulls and pulls until it's rewarded. So that was really an awesome example in terms of faith. So what I would say, so from that moment right there, you're placing faith into the mother, that birthed you. You're placing faith into the mom, right? Your parents. And so that's showing us that faith is natural, right? But it also shows us, a divine order of things. Right? So those that's atheists that don't subscribe to a God, a God above them or more powerful than them, it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's really nonsensical. It's really nonsensical in the sense that everything, when we came out of the womb, everything, all our needs were met. Everything we ever need was here already. Everything was already here, that you may need in life. Even if you come sick, like you have complications in the womb, like sometimes our children come out with complications, and even those needs are met, with medical attention, whether it be from a machine, whether it be from therapy or some type of training. Like all our needs that we ever want was here before we got here, right? So that right there should tell us that there's something greater than us that in existence to bring all of this about in the universe, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that even primitive tribes realize and recognize that there is a power greater than themselves, right? That's the obvious, because you get here, you like, who created this? My mother didn't do it. My father didn't do it. So, who did it? And you keep going back until you get to an originator or a creator. So my thinking is, just because you don't see this person walking around on a regular basis doesn't imply that it doesn't that creator doesn't exist, because creation is here. So that part we can't get around. So maybe some people feel like a creator made all of this and then just died or something, or I really don't know what goes on in people's mind that doesn't subscribe to a God. Maybe they're atheists. It's really something that can't be explained. And again, it's They're all theories. They're all theories. Just that right there alone is like we can't get out of it, because if you don't subscribe to spirituality, right, and some things that's beyond your scope, then you will have to go to science, right? But even in science is filled with theories and faith, things that they know nothing of, right? So what I mean by that is scientists, right, come up with a theory and they say, oh, the world started or the universe started from the Big Bang, right? And they may have different theories out there, models, but it's a way of them trying to describe how they believe the beginning started from the evidence that's known or evidence that's seen, right? So scientists deal with what's seen to try to figure out the unseen, right? That's kind of like the model of a scientist. They study what's known to figure out the unknown. But it's all a theory because they wasn't there in the beginning. So they're theorizing, So once again, it's faith. They have faith that these things occurred this way, but it's not certain. It is not to be certain, but you couldn't do science without faith. So we see these same creation stories in all cultures around the earth, right? Whether it's Christianity, which got theirs from Judaism, right? Or you see that in Islam, you see that in the Kemetic science, you see that in the Indic traditions, right? The Indic Valley traditions, you have these creation stories. And of course, is a measure of faith because none of us were actually there, right? We could only go by these revelations, right? Whether it's revelations in different spiritual systems, or like I said, the scientists and them theorizing. Some truths they can discover, but it's a limitation. It's a limitation on it. So lastly, I also wanted to add that we see the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad promote faith, right? He promotes faith in a story, right? A story out of the Holy Quran that demonstrates faith, right? And this story is usually titled Moses and the Wise Man. That's what it's titled, Moses and the Wise Man, right? And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but the gist of this story is talks about Moses coming in the company of a wise man, right? And he wants to travel along with the wise man. So the wise man stops him in his tracks and he tells him, like, you can't travel with me, he says, because you don't have a comprehensive knowledge, and you'll be questioning me along the way because you don't have a comprehensive knowledge. He doesn't want Moses questioning him. So Moses is like, nah, I'm not gonna. It's the modern rendition, I guess. He's saying, nah, I'm not gonna question you. He said, I'm not gonna question you. I'm gonna just go with the flow of things, right? That's what Moses say, and they embark on their journey. So as they move on these journey, they encounter certain situations, and the situations, like, give you an example. One situation was they had a boat that they went to a couple's house, right? And and they had this boat. I guess they lived on the waterfront, near the river or what have you, and their boat was parked outside. So the wise man put a hole in their boat and sunk it. He sunk their boat. So Moses, he broke his his promise straight from the gate. He said, why'd you sink these people's boat? Like, why would you do that? Like, they need their boat. They poor people. Sinking their boat? Like, why would you do such a thing? Like, so Moses took it as the wise man was causing a hardship for the couple, right? And it was a couple other more stories that, you could read it for yourself in the Holy Quran, but just to show you what I mean, when you fast forward to the end, the wise man told Moses that, he says, this is where we part ways. He said, I'm gonna explain to you why I did what I did, and then afterwards we'll part ways. You know what I mean? Because you kept questioning me. And so he explained to him, he says, the reason why he sank their boat is because there was a wicked king on the river that day, and they were seizing boats. They were seizing boats, taking them from people, I guess, confiscating them, maybe. And so what he did was put a hole in the boat, but he said the couple, that way the boat sinks, and the king don't see the boat, so he can't seize it. So he said then the couple or what have you could just go down to the bottom of the river and bring the boat back up and patch it up, patch up the hole that's in the boat, and it'd be good as new. You know what I mean? That way their boat won't be confiscated. So the moral of the story is basically that Moses didn't have faith in the wise man. He didn't have faith to just know that the wise man was righteous enough in his being to go on this journey and maneuver in a righteous way. So Moses questioned him. He needs to know everything. So the moral of that story is you don't have to know everything to move out on the orders of God. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't have a comprehensive knowledge. God and wise men and sages, leaders, kings, whatever it may be, have a more comprehensive knowledge in terms of what they've studied and also experience, right? So their thinking is out front, ahead of the people, ahead of us. So that's why at times we must exercise faith and not think we need the answers to everything. You see, it's just not possible. It's kind of like in war, you have generals that study war, right? The common soldier, they don't go to school to study war, so they don't know exactly what the general knows, right? So the general give you an order. You in war. He don't have time to explain to you why he doing this, like from the course that he took. He just give the soldier order, and the soldier job and duty is to move on those orders, immediately. Not when you figure it out, when you think why we should do, war doesn't work like that, so life doesn't work like that when it deals with matters of faith in terms of the servants of God. The servants of God tell us things and we move on it, and eventually over time maybe Allah will bless us with understanding, like we'll come into the understanding after we experience things, or we further our studies, and then the understanding will come to you. But to just question things and not move out on faith just because you're afraid. So it appears that it's a fear factor there, a trust issue when we talk about a lack of faith, a trust issue. So it's like I said, it really doesn't make sense in terms of the men of God that have shown and proved the path that they carved out. And it's just, as I said before, nonsensical to not have any faith in a creator that have carved out a universe. To think that a person with that said ability is not worthy of being followed and having faith in, that there alone just doesn't compute. So this I'm at the end of my talk as far as that. I hope I made some sort of sense out of this subject. It's a good subject, and I think we need to study those two words further, religion and faith. And faith is what's going to get us through this hour, this tough time that we're about to go through. We had a rough period, and you can see it. You definitely can see it with all of these disasters and things taking place out of nowhere. I'm here in the northeast area of America, and we just had storms that came out of nowhere, like something that I never experienced in my lifetime, like basements flooding. I mean, gallons and gallons and gallons of water, like to where you trapped in there in a manner of moments, minutes, like, you know, nothing to spare. It's like water pouring down in the subway, looked like a river going down. You know, I think here in Jersey, maybe 40 people lost their lives. You know, 40 people, God bless the dead, lost their lives due to these flash floodings that occurred, you know, last month. So, you know, and it's not limited to that one occurrence. It's happening all over, all around the world. So we definitely need faith in the man of God that gives us guidance and direction. And that particular servant of God, or that even claims to be guided by God, is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his divine reminder, who's the Messiah in our midst, and that's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his day and time. So study all you can, you know, YouTube his videos to get some type of guidance, like I said, in this scary time that we're living in. And let's increase our faith. That's it for tonight. Assalamu alaikum.